Buenos dias, Senor and Senorita. Good morning to you, dear listener. This message is for you from Dawn, from the heart of Dawn. And thank you for following. I appreciate that. I trust it is of great value what I have to share with you, even though it's just about my daily experiences. And I trust that some of them may resonate with you. Anyway, I had an incredibly busy day yesterday. But the highlight was I did it was the second follow-up to the transformation by donation of the Sunday group that I do. Anyway, there was crazy, amazing things like Cece changing the weather 4 times one day, and David, his relationships shift, and Shelley with her indigenous, just seeing everything and doing things so different, and Radu, just all of these amazing things. He just, from the day of the transformation, he just held it completely. And so just that, knowing how powerful, even at that level, that, and this can be done with hundreds and thousands and millions at a time. Yeah, waking people up instead of being sedated by things like the coronavirus. Yes, to shock them and wake them. And of course, Lizbeth with her steady shift and all of that. Hi, Saul. Nice to have you on the call. But the one that touched my heart the most was this little 13-year-old Carla. And I remember how she got there. She was, her mother was coming to do assist me and getting these started, because it was in her studio, in Smart Spaces studio, and they have so graciously donated the space and the staff to assist in this going so smoothly. And anyway, she was leaving to go one day, and her daughter Carla says, "I don't want you to go." Now, what is that? Well, that's a fear of abandonment. I'll be left alone. Anyway, so she decided to come that day with her mom. And she was sitting there, and I asked her some questions or whatever, and she ended up coming to the transformation process. And it was amazing yesterday. It's difficult to get people to articulate the changes. Like, remember picking on David, him saying, "Yeah, well, my relationship is different, and I just know it's different, the way I talk and everything." And no. Let's be specific here. I used to do this, and now I do this. That's specific. And so anyway, with Carla, it was, okay, you came here, you showed up on the first day because you had a phobia of abandonment. It wasn't a fear, it was a phobia. And many of you listeners have a phobia of something, especially around relationships, around rejection, around giving your power away to buy love, all of those kind of things. And anyway, so here she is saying, having this phobia of abandonment when her mother wasn't there. I said, "Okay, Carla, now just go back in the last 2 weeks and tell me if that has been the case." "No, it isn't, John. No, I haven't had it. Huh, isn't that amazing? Now, keeping in mind, we're talking about a 13-year-old. Yes, a 13-year-old. And then I said, oh, yes. And what about your exams and all of that, and your curriculum when you have to do these different tests? And she said, well, now that's different, because I just had it last week, the week before, and I used to get so anxious and sweaty palms and just anxious all the time. And we had one this time, and there was none of that. There was absolutely none. I said, okay, Carla, let's add this up here now, my dear little girl. You came here with this issue around your love. You came here with issues around your worth and around giving other people your power. And they're both gone. And she said, yes. Now think about that, a 13-year-old. A 13-year-old getting these programs cleaned up. Rather than, I know a lady that's 95 right now. She's a friend of mine, 95. And she refused to do this with me. She refused to do this with me a couple of years ago. At 95, still has those programs that little Carla's talking about. So imagine going through 95 years of these programs and think about how different that is for a 13-year-old to get it. Now, that was amazing in and of itself. And then after, when the session was over and everyone was gone, Carla was in the studio because I was still using the studio that her mom worked in and helped and assisted me and, of course, the owners, Giancarlo and his dad, and in the Smart Spaces studio. And she said, you keep talking about changing the weather. Like, could you tell me some stories about changing the weather? Now, here's a little 13-year-old. This is like going to Disneyland for the first time. Or Disney World for the first time. And so I told her about the change in the forest fires in BC in 2019. And then I told her about my dramatically reducing Hurricane Dorian from a Category 5 monster storm to a 2 and then to a 1.75. And then I told her about the wall of rain up in the Pacific Northwest that was coming at us and stopped it, and the weather and the rain was gone and no clouds in 3 minutes, and it stopped instantly. And yes, changing the like the storms for boating. Yes. So anyway, and you could see her eyes just lighting up like saucers. Imagine a 13-year-old knowing how powerful she is. Yes, knowing how powerful she is. So here's Cece saying that she changed the weather 4 times in the same day. And here's this little 13-year-old finding out that she has this power. Because the whole idea is, you are superheroes. You have such dramatic power. Dramatic power. And all this pain and angst and everything is because of there's things outside yourself that's taking your power away because you're giving them that power. I'm not talking about you accessing your power. And the more anxious you are, and the more phobic you are, and the more all of that you are, the more you're refusing to stand in your power. Whether that's in a relationship, or government, or COVID, or money, or whatever. And what right now everyone's being called to is to stand in that power. To stand in it. that it's not the money, it's not your partner, it's not your career, it's not your looks, it's not your children, it's not your bank account, it's none of that. It's you have that power. And it doesn't matter what nationality you are, and it doesn't matter the situation you're in. You have this power. I've changed the weather 65 times. The weather or the tides or the forest fires or like those nature things. 65 times out of 66 attempts. And I'm not an anomaly. I'm not a one-off. I've got now, I believe it's 13 people that figured out from me telling them that they had the power to change the weather, that they actually did. Yes, they have changed the weather. They didn't know that they could. And now they do. So you're called to stand in your power. Start, stop. That's it. And all of these things are the divine allowing them to happen, to back you into a corner, to get so upset with what's happening around you that you're willing to stand in the power that you have been gifted with, that you took to this planet at this time. Yes, that is true. But you can't do it if you're going to stay stuck to the negative and positive beliefs of who you think you are. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. You got to let them go first. Then you step in your power. How is that? Yes. So I invite you. I invite you to stand in your power. And I also invite you to listen to some of these videos that I do every morning. At my personal experience and what was happening for me that day and what I had learned on that day and all of those kind of things. And one of these days I'm going to do one on addictions. That's for darn sure. And then every Saturday now, for those of you that speak Spanish, Giancarlo and I are doing the Spanish version of the I Am Divinity Instant and Permanent Transformation by Donation. It's at 11 o'clock Cabo Standard Time, because it hasn't shifted yet, but when it does, it will be at 11 o'clock Cabo time. Okay, to make sure there's no confusion. Even yesterday there was still confusion with the time change. That's on Saturday at 11 o'clock. And then on Sunday is the English version, where Tim and Jamie are assisting me in doing the Sunday one. So, you don't have any excuses. Just sign up. Quit having your ego make your decisions for you. That it's unfamiliar, you don't know what it is, and it's scary, or what's this, and all of that. Pay no attention. Pay no attention whatsoever. And then, to finalize, I'm doing this instant and permanent transformation by donation. You are your cure to your terminal disease. That's right. And if you know of someone that has been given the death sentence by the medical, this is what you have and this is how long you have, and there's nothing we can do. That's the worst case scenario, and yes, there is all kinds. I'm not even going to call it hope. Hope has got a failure to it. I'm talking about, hey, that can be transformed. All I need is you. Okay, no matter how bad it is. So if you know of someone or yourself, reach out on Facebook to me. We need to do a one-on-one with us. Yes. So you say you have yourself a magnificent day. I was a little later today because the sunrise was so magnificent. I took a ton of pictures. And anyway, there you have it. Enjoy yourself. Have a magnificent day. and know that you are divine and you are infinitely powerful, because inside, when those programs are gone, you will find that you are invincible. I am Don.